All right, good afternoon, everyone. Like she said, my name is Michael Ozualo. I'm travel and tourism instructor at Lagos Aviation Academy. Um, I'll be your instructor for the day. I'll be talking a little bit about the travel and tourism industry. So I'm here to answer questions. I will give a brief presentation, and then we'll go on to answering questions that you may have based on anything, any doubts that you may have based on the industry in general. So please give me a minute while I share my screen. All right, so welcome to our Travel and Tourism Masterclass, presented to you by Lagos Aviation Academy Travel and Tourism Faculty. The masterclass, as she said, is aimed at enlightening about a few of the technicalities in the industry. We'll talk generally on what the career path should look like. We'll talk about opportunities that you may have in the travel and tourism industry. So without wasting too much time, introduction to the travel and tourism industry. The travel, according to International Air Transport Association, which is IATA, is the physical transportation of a person from one point to another. Traveling is just one very important sector of the industry that makes the tourism industry exist. Of course, tourism has to do with a whole lot of other things, not just traveling. Traveling is just one very important part, albeit a very major part, but there are other industries that work together with the aviation industry to make tourism work. So tourism is the activity of people traveling to, visiting, or staying in places outside of their usual environments for leisure, business, or other purposes. The travel and tourism industry offers many opportunities, exciting destinations, niche products, lifestyle brands, selling one of the most perishable commodities on the planet, because the commodities, or should I say the products or services that we sell in the travel and tourism industry, are tightly linked with time, available time. So it is the most perishable commodities. Whatever it is you can't sell today cannot be sold tomorrow. Any seat not sold today is lost forever. Any room not sold today is lost forever. Even as much as foods, if it's not sold today, it can't be used the next day. Everything has to be, is tightly linked with time. So these are all elements that require the management and organizational skills of well-trained and enthusiastic industry professionals. Introduction to the travel and tourism industry. So the principal sectors of the tourism industry that makes everything work together is one, transportation. Transportation being what everybody knows. We are talking about your air transportation, land transportation, even if it is just car, railways. We talk about your ferries and cruises. Talk about ferries and cruises, which are very, very important part of transportation too, based on location, the geography of the location you find yourself in. We'll talk about accommodation being either your hotels, homesteads, even something as small as a small camping tent is part of the accommodation that is tightly linked with the aviation industry, or should I say the travel and tourism industry. I'm talking about attractions. Attractions are sightseeing locations, places of importance in the different destinations. Like let's say you're going to Dubai, you're talking about the Burj Khalifa, you're talking about the desert safari, or you're going to Brazil to see the Christ the Redeemer statue, or even the Statue of Liberty in New York. All of these places are major locations that attract people to come to a particular destination. Then we talk about events and conferences. Talk about events and conferences. Sorry, 1 minute, please.
Hi, Michael, you're mute.
All right, for events and conferences, we'll talk about things like the World Cup, the Carnival in Brazil, thereabouts. When we talk about food and beverages, we're talking about restaurants, places where you enjoy local foods and everything, tourism service centers, travel agencies, tourist boards, tourist organizations that give people information about a particular place, or even the bodies that promote tourism in a country. Then you talk about the retail outlets, we're talking about your travel agency, your tourist companies, and thereabouts, all of those. All right, before we go further in the class, I would like us to introduce ourselves. Like I said, my name is Michael Oswalo. I'm a travel and tourism instructor for Lagos Aviation Academy. I would like to meet you all. I'll start from, I'm seeing a Biggie01 Travels. Please, can you introduce yourself? Or anybody that feels he or she can go first, since Biggie is not. All right, Olaiton Lawal, please. I can see your hand raised, Olaiton. Okay, Esther Esang, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Esther.
Okay, is that everything you want us to know about you?
Okay, I'm a licensed cabin crew. I just finished my classes like a few months ago, and currently I'm into business and looking forward to learn more on this course. I want to learn and relate. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. Olaiton, you still have your hands raised. So
Yeah.
are you speaking now?
Good afternoon.
All right.
My name is Olaiton Lawa. I'm into aviation security by profession, but due to my interest in traveling and tourism, I'm trying to venture into ticketing and reservation. That's why I'm so interested in putting for the program. Thank you. Good afternoon.
That's nice to have you. It's nice to have you here. It's nice to have you here. All right, Kachi, you have your hands raised.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kachi Joshua. I work in the bank and I have so much interest in travel. That's why I'm here.
Nice to meet you, Kachi. Olushola Doinsola.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good
My name
afternoon.
is Doinsola. Good afternoon. My name is Doinsola. I'm ticketing and reservation officer. So I'm here to relearn and learn more.
All right, all right, all right. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Biggie01 Travels.
Good afternoon. My name is
Good afternoon.
Oluwatobi Joseph Fabi from Biggie01 Travels Akure.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Oluwatosin. I can see an Oluwatosin in the hands raised. Or anybody that is interested in introducing himself or herself. I'm seeing Bukola, Dennis, Ifoma, then okay, I know Isioma, then Ojo Victoria, Omo Yeli Adegoke. Anybody else? Right, Victor Dennis. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Right. Okay. I think the other persons are a little too shy to introduce themselves, so we'll just go on with the class. We'll go on with the class for now. All right. So basically, we've talked about the major sectors in the travel and tourism industry: transportation, accommodation, attractions, events and conferences, foods and beverages, tourism service centers, retail outlets. Those are all major parts, major industries on their own that come together to make the travel and tourism industry work seamlessly and perfectly. All right. The industry is an exciting profession, and according to IATA, that's International Air Transport Association, the industry is an adventure in the sense that there are so many activities you can get involved in that gets you riled up, gets your adrenaline pumping. It's an education, you're meeting different cultures. It's a science, there's a business side of it, there's an art part of it. You get to learn a lot of things. So it's an experience all rolled into one. If I'm to ask a question thereabouts, I'll just pose a simple scenario. When you went on excursion when you were quite young, probably secondary school thereabouts, you went on excursion, those activities, you just go to see particular a major sites thereabout. Let's say you're going to a cargo sea, even if it's something as small as an amusement park thereabouts. Those kind of memories stay with you forever. You still hold on to the things they told you about those places. Even as an adult, I remember still going on a field trip. Until tomorrow, that experience is still in my head. So everything, the things I learned about that location, the people I met during this place, they are all in my head. Something as exciting as this stays with you forever. So we say the industry is as an adventure. The travel and tourism industry regards adventure as exploring the world with certain amount of risk during vacation. You're skydiving, you're mountain hiking, you're caving. All of these things get your adrenaline pumping. The excitement is there. So the tourism industry is growing exponentially as a result of the many activities that bring out the fun in a vacation. Such activities include climbing, hiking, caving, and rafting. There are so many other things you can do that gets your heart pumping really, really fast. In the industry as an education, the travel and tourism industry pursues educational learning for the purpose of acquiring historical, cultural, and social knowledge during excursions or trips. Let's say everyone here, we go together and we are at the pyramids of Giza. Then there's a tour guide telling us how those things were built, how long it has been. Those experiences, by the time you come back, it stays with you forever. You're learning a little bit about their culture, a little bit about their history, and definitely when you're in a new environment, there's a saying that says, when in Rome, you act like the Romans. You find yourself emulating some behaviors of the locals during your period of stay. It's just a normal thing that happens when you're in a new environment. So tourism is equally a tool utilized by education to consummate the learning while garnering experiences through consistent practice. You're doing something over and over again. Before you know it, it becomes the second part of you. There's always a first time for something, but as soon as you do it over and over, you become so used to it. And that's it. Let's say you start skydiving for the first time. You do skydiving and you are too scared the first time. After doing it and it's successful, the second time you are less scared. The third time you are less scared. Then you start picking different locations to do your skydiving at. No matter how dangerous it is, or you begin to find yourself craving that experience more and more. Then the industry is further regarded as a science and an art due to the continuous learning experience. The industry is regarded as an art because of the creative way we sell destinations and cultural experiences. In the industry, selling a particular destination requires a whole lot of passion. You have to be able to talk about the destination you're selling like you've been there, like you've experienced everything. Of course, it's not possible for you to experience every destination, but speaking about it, you just need to find yourself talking about it like it's an experience you've had before. It's interesting. That's one way to get your clients to buy a certain package from you. That's one way to get your clients buying packages from you. So it's also a science in terms of managing the business side of it. Of course, there's a whole lot of accounting to be done. There's a whole lot of calculation. There's a whole lot of timing involved in selling tour packages. In fact, not just tour packages. Let's say the person is only booking a flight, a hotel, and probably transfers thereabouts. Some of these things I'll talk about what they mean later on. So all of those things require a little bit of calculations. You learn how to balance it so that the journey seems smooth. It is seamless. That seamless movement from the person's house down to his or her location is very serious science. It's not something that's easily achieved. So it's a science because there's a whole lot to the business than just clicking and clicking and clicking. It's bigger than that. So the travel and tourism jobs are not boring or stereotypical. A travel professional does not sell the same product every day. Even if you're selling the same flight to the same destination every day for 1 week, the experiences you have with individual customers is always very different. It's always very, very different. A person comes, he's meek, he's scared of everything, and you have to encourage the person, oh, don't worry, it's just a very simple experience or anything. Some persons are coming with excitement, and some are coming with doubt. It depends on the way you handle, the way you deal with each customer is quite different. It's not a stereotypical job like I don't want to say this, but it's not stereotypical like being the bank teller at the job where you just collect cash, stamp, and that's on. Even though that has its own excitement too, but you are not doing the same thing every day. You're selling different destinations. You're speaking to different people from different spheres of life. In fact, you begin to find out that when you join the industry, you begin to find out that people are more diverse than you actually thought they were. It's not just based on culture or race or whatever. Even 2-3 persons in the same culture have different views of different things. So this is a sophisticated and specialized business that requires mastery of everything from product knowledge of selling skills to the complexities of digital systems. Of course, the industry is tightly linked with the use of technology these days that you really need to get the technologically sound. We have the global distribution system. We use a lot of Microsoft packages. Your email is your best friend because that's one of the biggest ways we communicate. Then your social media platforms, you talk about even your chatting platforms, your WhatsApp, care about Instagram, everything. You make use of all kinds of tools to make the business interesting or to succeed in the business. So why travel professionals love the industry? It is a happy business. The industry is a happy business. Why? Because when people come to share their experiences and everything, it's always filled with passion, especially if the experience is a very good one. It's always filled with passion, it is fun, it is enjoyable. It is also a helpful industry because wherever it is you, if you have a question in the industry, you will definitely find somebody to provide that service for you, no matter how unique that situation is. There's always somebody ready to help you out in that situation. The resources and tools are plentiful. That means the tools we have, it's not just one tool that you can use to sell the same a particular product. We have multiple tools for each product, multiple tools. For global distribution system, we have close to 4 or 5. You have your Abacus, you have the Amadeus, you have the Sabre, you have Travelport, which is Galileo. You have so many that you can use. You have so many websites you can use to sell your products. You have so many online travel agencies, OTAs that you can use to sell your products and everything. Then incentives and discounts are available. Of course, any whatever it is you're selling in the travel and tourism industry, travel suppliers would always pay you incentives in the form of commissions. Incentives in the form of commissions, and if you have a good purchasing power, you can even negotiate a lot of prices. Negotiate prices, it brings them down. Then it's a continuous learning and new education opportunity. Continuous learning and new education opportunities make work interesting. Yeah, of course. You're trying to sell a new destination. It makes you, as a travel agent, you are obliged to go and read up on that particular location because customers come and ask you questions based on the product you're selling. We all know what it means to know your product. You must know your product properly before you can sell it. Now, knowing your product means you have to read, you have to learn about different cultures, different destinations. You learn one thing or the other about it. So travel suppliers and vendors are very supportive. If you do not have a particular service, all you have to do is reach out to a fellow supplier or any other travel agent or travel consultant around you, and they are quick to provide you those services. In fact, at a discount. They would even provide it at a discount. That's how helpful the industry is. We understand the importance of connections and having contacts everywhere. So we're very, very supportive. All right, be a part of the world's largest growth industry. The travel and tourism industry employs over 200 million people worldwide, both direct and indirect jobs. Tourism jobs and businesses are often created in the most underdeveloped regions of a country, helping a country or helping to balance the economic opportunities. So tourism activities are biggest in an undeveloped country because one way or the other, they have they are known to have preserved some of their culture, some of their old traditions, some of their historical sites. So tourism usually booms more, which is why a lot of countries are placing more focus into preserving their olden days sculptures, olden days bronze works, or whatever kind of works it is they have. They are putting a lot more effort into preserving all of these things because it attracts people to come into your country. And in other words, they are bringing in foreign exchange. They are coming to spend money that's gotten in other countries in your country, improving the economy. So it's one industry that really helps underdeveloped economies. So travel agents or consultants no longer work in a travel agency or travel companies, organizations, associations, educational institutions, and societies all need the knowledge and skills of a professional travel expert. Even big organizations are employing a travel expert, somebody in charge of all of their travel experiences. You don't have to necessarily work with a travel agency. You can work with a company, you can work with an NGO, you can work with a school, just handling all of their travel-related activities for them. So there's a whole lot of opportunity, and it's not just about being a travel professional. The tourism industry, like we saw all the industries that are involved in the tourism industry, all of these things work together for the industry to work. They come together for the industry to work thereabouts. So whatever it is you have studied or whatever background you have thereabouts, you'll definitely find a way to fit into the industry. So how do you become a part of this exciting industry professionally? The International Air Transport Association have professional certifications that require you attain before you can be recognized as an industry professional. After acquiring your certification in the industry, you'll be recognized as a travel agent, a travel consultant, a travel manager, a travel guide, a travel blogger, a travel operator, anything. So that's to show you that there's a whole lot more you can be in the industry than just being a travel consultant. I understand that being a travel agent is really what most people are after there, but the industry is a whole lot bigger than all of that. So the value of an IATA qualification includes, but are not limited to, the industry leader in the international travel professional training. Now, this is one of the values that you get from owning an IATA certification. You're an industry leader in international travel professional training. Whenever it is you find yourself applying for a particular job, IATA certification singles you out as one of the best. It definitely singles you out as one of the best. And the certificate has worldwide recognition and acceptance. And there have been more than 30 years of training experience. So constantly, they've been improving on the training pathways, the learning paths, the career pathways, and what they have now, they're still constantly improving on it over 30 years, which is to show you that any certification you're getting from IATA is definitely up to par. So the pathway for the travel and tourism industry, the IATA training program has a three-level pathway to achieving a successful career in the travel and tourism industry. Level 1 is IATA Foundation in Diploma, a Foundation Diploma in Travel and Tourism. Level 2 is IATA Travel Consultant. And level 3 is IATA Managing the Travel Business. Now, these are the 3 levels that you can attain. And of course, for the masterclass, we will have a sneak peek into the foundation level. So the IATA Foundation in Travel and Tourism, when we're talking about foundation, we're talking about the building blocks, the things you need to know before you take it a step further. So this is where we're going to be placing our focus on for this masterclass. So by studying this course and successfully completing the examination, you'll be qualified with the Foundation in Travel and Tourism Diploma, and you are entitled to use the letters DTTF, which is Diploma in Travel and Tourism Foundation, after your name, like the acronym you get from being a certified manager, a certified health and safety manager. You have the DTTF to attach at the end of your name. So wherever it is people see your name and they see DTTF at the end of it, they know you are IATA certified. The course is structured into various modules, and they are organized into 3 themes. The first one is the travel environment. We're talking about your geography, what the world looks like, the things that make a particular place, that qualifies a particular place as a destination. We then go on to products and services. We're talking about your land transport, your cars, your rails, your hotels, all of those things that you need, and even customer service. Then we want to talk about fares, ticketing, and technology. Then this is the technical part of the foundation of the Diploma in Travel and Tourism Foundation. this is the technical part. This is where you begin to use technical terms like the outbound, the inbound, the fair construction point, the fair break points. We'll talk about all of that at the later part of the class. All right. So before we go further, there is something known as the phonetic alphabet. In the aviation industry, the phonetic alphabets are used as a means of communicating clearly and easily. The purpose is to avoid every form of error and misunderstanding with words and references. Of course, you want to say this person is the, you are trying to communicate a PNR, a passenger name record, and then you're not saying A, B, C. At one point in time, somebody may get confused, or you are saying letter A, letter B is cumbersome thereabouts. So we have what is known as the phonetic alphabet that makes these things easy. I'm very sure some of us have contacts with it, and we'll do a little bit of an exercise. So on here, these are the phonetic alphabets we use in the aviation industry. You have it from alpha, which is A down to Z, alpha down to Zulu. A representing alpha, B representing Bravo, C is Charlie, D is Delta, E is Echo, F is Foxtrot or Father, G is Golf, H is Hotel, I, India, J is Juliet, K is Kilo, L is Lima, M is Mike, N is November, O is Oscar, P is Papa, Q is Quebec, R is Romeo, S is Sierra, T is Tango, U is Uniform, V is Victor, W is Whiskey, X is X-ray, Y is Yankee, and Z is Zulu. So if I'm to spell my name, which is Michael, I'll start with Mike, India, Charlie, Hotel, Alpha, Echo, Lima. That's how I communicate my name. And whichever industry professional is listening to you understands exactly what you are talking about. So we're going to do a little exercise right now. I want anybody just spell out your name using the phonetic alphabet. Just anybody. Yes, please. Biggie.
Okay. My name is Oscar Lima Uniform Whiskey Alpha Tango Oscar Bravo India. Oluwatobi.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Esther.
Syria, Tango, Hotel, Echo, Romeo.
Okay.
Hello.
Pachi. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Esther. Thank you very much.
Okay, mine is Kilo Alpha Charlie Hotel India.
Nice. Nice. Thank you very much. Joy Sola, I believe. Joy Sola. If you find it difficult to speak where you are, you can just type it in the comment box. Oh, Oluwatosin also introduced herself. Nice to meet you, Oluwatosin. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome to this masterclass. So, anybody else, please just go ahead and turn on your mic. I have so many hands raised, so you can just go ahead to turn on your mic. Thank you very much, Tosi. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Tosi. Anyone else?
Hello.
Hi,
My own
please.
my own is Delta Oscar Yankee India Nancy.
You said Nancy. That's telling me that you're already in the industry. If you said Nancy.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I am.
Remember. All right. Bayo, I can see your hands raised. Your hand is raised. Please go ahead. Bayo. Okay. I can see Joy, Ini, Jerry, Anze, Uju, Victoria. If you cannot I can even see Olufunke, Olalekan. If you're unable to speak right now, you can just type it in the comment box. I'll definitely acknowledge it as we go in the class. All right, Victor. Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you very much, Victor. That's wonderful. That's correct. That's absolutely correct. That is how we communicate our names thereabout. So in the event where, thank you, Olaitona. Wow, thank you very much. So in the event where you're communicating with the person and the person cannot properly hear you, especially let's say you're communicating with a staff of Qatar Airways, you're not expecting them to be able to pronounce Olaiton or Oluwatobi thereabouts. If you want to spell that name out, then you can't start saying, oh, L. You may not get it. You may not get it based on the constraints we have based on languages thereabouts. So you use the phonetic alphabets to communicate all of those information to them. And as soon as they hear what you're saying, they understand what you're saying. They can spell whatever it is you're spelling to them. Right. So we just finished the practical section. So we are going on to the travel environment. Remember, we said that the travel and tourism, or like the IATA Foundation in Travel and Tourism, has 3 themes. The first one is the travel environment. And now, for this theme, it contains 4 modules. We're talking about the travel and tourism industry and the travel professional. We'll talk about your role as a travel professional. What is expected of you? What are you supposed to do? What are your obligations to your customers? What are your obligations to your clients? After that, we go on to geography and travel planning. Here, we talk about, of course, the physical geography. We talk about the time difference. It's understandable that I believe we all know that we are currently at 2 minutes to 4 or 22 minutes to 4 thereabouts. That's not the same time they are at in the United States. That's not the same time in Canada. That's not the same time in Brazil. Even that's not the same time in Ghana. Ghana that's just close to us here. That's not the same time. I think Ghana is an hour behind us. So we'll talk about all of that in geography and travel planning. We'll talk about the everything that has to do with the physical attributes, the cultural attributes of a particular location, everything. Then we'll talk about travel formalities. What are the things you're expected to have if you're traveling internationally, even locally? What are the things you're expected to have? Your passports, your visas, your vaccinations and inoculations that you're expected to have, travel insurance, everything that you're required to have, and what role each one of those documents is going to be, what role each one of those documents plays in allowing you entry into another country or even allowing you to enter into an aircraft. So we'll talk about air transport essentials. We'll talk about your formalities, your arrival formalities, your departure formalities. We'll talk about what it means to actually be in an airport, all the things that you need to take note of, what the role of the customs is, what the role of immigration is, what are the processes that they go through if you want to travel from one place to another. So after that, you talk on to the products and services, which is the second thing. This thing contains 6 modules. You talk about land transport, introduction to passenger rail. Now, a lot of people who come around for or claim that they are travel professionals don't know anything about rail transport, which is one of the major forms of transport in places like Europe, the United States of America. What if your client is interested in these forms of transportation? What if? So what do? You then begin to do research blindly, but having that base knowledge is going to help you to streamline your thoughts or streamline your research to get what you need out of the internet. Of course, we know that resources are plentiful, but if you do not know where to get it, it's just wasted on there on the internet, and you spend a whole lot of time. By the time you can get an information for the person, he has already done business with somebody else. So to stay competitive, you need to be an all-rounder in the industry. Of course, you don't need to know how to do everything perfectly, but at least have the base knowledge to convince the client that you know what you're doing. So the other one is we land transport, car and camper. Of course, when we're talking about car and camper, we're talking about car rentals, hire purchase or car hiring in the area. So you need to know how these things work, some of the terms and conditions that are required, things that are required when you are no longer in your local scene. What does your client need to know if he or she is going to be renting a car outside of the country? A camper is only available in certain areas, like areas with large landmarks, places like Norway, Canada, Australia, the United States, then more recently South Africa. Campers are these big vehicles that have living accommodation in them. So what does it take for a person to rent those places? Where can they get those kind of campers? In what areas, in what countries are campers allowed? So you need to have all of this knowledge to speak to your clients, because clients will come to you with unreasonable demands. You have to be the one to let them know, oh, this is what it is, this is how it is supposed to be, this is what it's supposed to be. Now we talked about hotel products and services. And of course, you need to understand that there are certain terms that are used loosely in our own environment, our business environment, but mean a different thing in another environment. So learn the distinctions between some of these things and know when and where to use those services. You learn that hotels are not just talking about your regular hotels. They are homestays, they are boutique hotels. They're different types, different configuration, each one of them offering different kinds of services. Then you're talking about water transport, you're talking about cruise products, you're talking about ferries. You will find a distinction between ferries and cruise products. The ferries being just used for transportation on short distances, and cruises being an actual destination themselves. The ferries are supposed to take you from point A to point B. The ferries focus more on transportation, whereas the cruise doesn't focus on transportation. The cruise focus on being the destination itself. So it's just on there, but all of your activities are, or should I say a majority of your activities are on the cruise itself. This is what that module is talking about. You talk about prepackaged tours. Tours there about the types of tours you are talking about, the necessary terms, the different aspects that make your tours work together, the things you need to talk about. You talk about your pitch, you talk about routing, you talk about the client's interest, all of these things, attention to details. We will learn how to seamlessly book all of these packages and make the customer's experience a worthwhile one. Then you talk about serving the travel customer, which is basically just another way of saying customer service. Customer service talks about the things you're expected to say or do when you're dealing with a client, your obligations. Of course, customer service is the degree to which a passenger's or a customer's needs are met. So we'll learn some of the ways that you can provide excellent customer service to your clients. And lastly, we'll talk about the fares and ticketing, fares or ticketing and technology. This is the technical part of the module, or should I say of this course. And the first thing we talk about is the electronic booking tools, GDS functionality, the things you need to know about the GDS and everything. Now talk about fundamentals in airfares and ticketing, the things you need to know when you are issuing tickets, the things you need to know if you are going to be considering yourself a travel agent. Then distribution and airline retailing with NDC, all of these are things that we're going to be talking about in this particular area. So for the travel environment, let's focus on geography and travel planning. This is the second module of the travel environment. In this module, you learn to plan and arrange itineraries for your customers. Travel professionals will need to understand the basic elements of physical, geography, and physical, cultural, and destination geography. That means you need to learn what their terrain looks like. You learn about a little bit about their culture. You learn about the things that makes a place a destination geography. Then you understand how to explore the world's 7 continents and locate and learn about major countries and major cities. It's always interesting to find that a lot of people really don't know much about the maps. Don't know much about the maps, which is a very, very key tool that you need to know to have as a travel consultant. Because knowing what the distance is between 2 particular places will let you know if a particular fare is reasonable or not. So you also learn about major countries and major cities around the world. Then we'll learn about the creation of city codes, their importance in selling and booking travel arrangements. This includes learning about coding and decoding cities and airport codes. Every city in the world, every airport in the world has a code that's assigned to it. This makes it easier for us to communicate certain things. And of course, let's look at something as simple as a baggage tag at the airport. It's just a small slip of paper. Imagine that you are going from Guatemala City to Ouagadougou, and they have to print that in full on that small baggage tag. There's not enough space for all of those things. So learn how to encode and decode this thing. And in fact, if I should throw out a question there about, I just need an answer to this. How many cities in the world are called Paris? How many cities in the world are called Paris? If anyone, just give me a brief answer. Just tell me how many cities in the world you know that are known as Paris. Anybody? Anybody? Just, you can type in the comment box, is it 1, is it 2, is it 3, is it 4, is it 5? The first person to answer gets 500 recharge card from me. The first person to answer gets 500 recharge card from me. Biggie, okay? Your answer is not correct, but you're the first to answer, so you get 500 recharge card. That's Oluwatobi here. So you can please type in your number in the comment box. You can type your number in the comment box, then I'll definitely send it. The correct answer is 3. There are 3 cities in the world known as Paris. You have 2 in the United States, and then you have 1 in France. One in that's Paris in France. You have Paris in Tennessee. In so those are the 3 cities in the world that are known as Paris. All right, let's go on. So having a city code helps you to make that distinction between each and every one of those cities. So people cannot make the mistake of saying, oh, Paris. As a rookie, I had made that mistake before. The person, client spoke to me and asked me, oh, I'm going to Paris, and I got him a flight to France, but he was going to Tennessee. It was when I was telling him that, oh, Air France that I booked. He was like, why are you booking Air France? Why not Delta? I was like, you're going to France. It's easier if you're flying on Air France. He said, no, I'm not going to France. I'm going to the United States, Paris in Tennessee. I was shocked. I went to do research that day and I found out that, oh, there's actually a Paris in Tennessee and another one in Texas. Then I had to get him a different fare entirely. So the city code makes it easier for us to identify each one of those cities. All right, so we also learn how to evaluate resources for developing itineraries. We learn how to calculate the elapsed travel times between selected destinations. That means the person departs from Lagos by 7 a.m. He arrives at his destination at 7 a.m. There's no distinction between the time and the date thereabout. So how long did he spend flying on air? We'll learn how to do all of that in that module. So as some of the world's greatest tourism destinations, we're talking about the most visited cities in the world. Cities have always captured the interest and attention of travelers. Many travelers seek the culture and variety of cities and equate travel destination with an opportunity to explore the world's greatest cities. Urban tourism plays a critical role in the promotion of cultural identity, economic development, and enrichment of cities around the world. So tourism activity can be measured in terms of number of visitors. The United Nations World Tourism Organization, that's UNWTO, defines a visitor as a visitor not being any traveler, but not just any traveler, but one who takes tourism trip to a main destination outside their usual environment for less than a year for the main purpose of business or other leisure purposes other than to be employed by residents in the country or a place visited. That means a visitor is somebody who goes to a major destination outside of his usual destination, but he's not going there to spend more than he's going there for less than a year, but he's not going there for employment purposes or whatever. That is a visitor. And then there are 2 types of visitors. You have the tourist and the excursionist. Now the tourist is the person who spends time overnight. That's an overnight visitor, while an excursionist is the same day visitor. Those are the 2 types of visitors you can have. So a visitor is not just anybody that gets into a place thereabouts. No, it's somebody who is there for the purpose of leisure or business or whatever, but is not there to be employed. That is a visitor. Then you now have the excursionist, which is probably somebody who is just transiting, and then you now have the tourist. That's somebody spending nights at that particular place for sightseeing or for business or for medical purposes or whatever. That is the distinction between those 2. So these are some of the major cities in the world and the language that they speak. You have Hong Kong being the special administrative region of China. They speak Mandarin. You have London in the United Kingdom speaking English. You have Singapore in Singapore speaking English. Bangkok in Thailand speaking Thai. Paris in France speaking French. Macau in Macau speaking Mandarin too. Dubai in the United Arab Emirates speaking Arabic. Shenzhen in China speaking Mandarin. New York in the United States also speaking English. Istanbul in Turkey speaking Turkish. Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia speaking Malay and English. Antalya in Turkey speaking Turkish. Seoul in South Korea speaking Korean. You have Rome in Italy speaking Italian. You have Taipei in Chinese Taipei, it's or Taiwan. Taipei was formerly, this Chinese Taipei, formerly known as Taiwan, also speaking Mandarin. You have Guangzhou, China, speaking Mandarin. You have Phuket in Thailand, speaking Thai. You have Miami in the United States, speaking English, and Pattaya in Thailand, speaking Thai. So these are some of the major cities, but there are a whole lot more. You have cities like Guatemala City, you have Panama City, you have Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, you have Brisbane, Auckland in Australia, Auckland in New Zealand, you have Brisbane, you have Melbourne, you have Sydney, you have so many cities around the world, and each one of them having a code that you can identify them with. All of this code, you are expected to know all of them. Not all. In fact, you're expected to know all of them, or at least a major part of them. For major cities, you should know all of their codes. So this is the way you have cities, countries, major cities in them. You have their city codes. Now, there is something interesting about this. For certain cities with only one major airport, the airport shares the same code with the city itself. But for cities with multiple airports, the airports then have their own codes separate from the city code. For all of these ones here, you can only see that we have the city code. That means there's only one major airport in each one of these cities. But look at Paris here. Paris has close to 8 airports. Most of them are domestic, but you have Charles de Gaulle and Orly being international airports thereabout. Each one of them having a different code from the city code. So this is, of course, when we are communicating the city codes and airport codes, we communicate them using the phonetic alphabet. For Vienna, you have Victor India Echo. Innsbruck, you have India November November. Minsk, you have Mike Sierra Quebec. For Brussels, you have Bravo Romeo Uniform. You have for Antwerp, you have Alpha November Romeo. Sofia, you have Sierra Oscar Father or Sierra Oscar Foxtrot. Nicosia, you have November India Charlie. Larnaca, you have Lima Charlie Alpha. Prague, Papa Romeo Golf. Copenhagen, Charlie Papa Hotel. Helsinki, Hotel Echo Lima. Paris, Papa Alpha Romeo. Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, you have Charlie Delta Golf. Or Orly Airport in Paris too, you have Oscar Romeo Yankee. Marseille, you have Mike Romeo Sierra. Nice, you have November Charlie Echo. Lyon, you have Lima Yankee Sierra. That's how we communicate all of those things. So people know, people understand what it is we're saying, and they know that, oh, definitely this person speaking is a professional. Products and services. Travel professionals work in one of the most dynamic industries. Their role is challenged by constant innovation in technology and higher customer service expectation. This module will help you to understand what customer service in the travel industry means and its importance in retaining current business while attracting new business. Acquire the fundamental communication skills leading to positive agent-customer interactions. Know how to handle difficult customers. So you will learn about the role of the travel in serving the travel customer. You learn about your role, the level of service customers get has an impact on return business, whether customers come back to you or avoid you. Excellent customer service is often the difference between choosing you over your competitor. Travel planning can be a time-consuming and frustrating activity. Business and leisure travelers rely on the travel professional to sort out their travel options and make the best possible arrangements. So as a travel professional, you might work in a retail or wholesale environment. You may work in a call center where customers are served by phone or email, or in a travel agency where some walk-in customers are served face-to-face. In all, the travel professional's role is to satisfy customers' needs so that the customer has a stress-free and a positive travel experience. Serving travel involves offering relevant products and services and then making the necessary arrangements for customers to carry out their travel plans. The goal of the travel agency is to keep existing customers so that they will return to buy again or refer you to their friends and relatives. Customer satisfaction is the best measure of success of the success of a travel business. High customer satisfaction will earn a travel agency a good reputation. Thus, a customer service can then be defined as the degree to which a customer's needs are met and the customer's level of satisfaction. So if the customer is not satisfied, you have not provided excellent customer or even good customer service. There are 3 levels to it. You have your bad customer service, good customer service, and excellent. Bad, you've not met the expectation. For good, you've met the expectation, but it's just there. But for excellent customer service, you met the expectation and then you exceeded it. That is the best way to get repeat customers. Sorry. All right. So although customers use the internet as a research tool and sales tool, research and sales tool for travel products and services, there are customers who need the services and support of the travel professionals. Travel professionals too can use the internet to help serve their customers and satisfy their need. Of course, the internet is very, very good for very simple itineraries. Lagos to London, London back to Lagos, Lagos to Abuja, Abuja back to Lagos. But once it's becoming more complex, where you have to go to multiple cities in the same journey thereabout, most people will opt to speak to a travel agency. In fact, the internet does not usually provide opportunities to make those kind of services. You find them going to online travel agencies, websites, and everything to do all of their business. And that's one of the best places to do this. So 52% of travel professionals say the internet is their most valuable asset. Of course, you find access to get different products on there. So serving the customer what customer service means. There is no doubt that travel professionals must have certain skills to deliver good customer service. These skills are one, paying attention to the customer's needs requires interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills is the first one. Interpersonal skills is the ability to communicate in the group or with individual people. Of course, your human touch, your soft skill, how well can you relate to your customer? Empathy, how do you have to always be able to put yourself in the customer's shoes and see things from their point of view. So interpersonal skills include how a travel professional asks questions, listens to a customer, and how a customer's problem is solved. All right, that's the only one we're talking about. But you can also, product knowledge is also a very huge part. It's a huge part of it because you need to know the product before you can actually sell it. Customer value anticipation skills. You need to be able to keenly identify what is most important to the customer. And usually you learn that by talking to them. They'll tell you what is most important to them. Is it a lack of delay? Is it good service on board? Is it the kind of services they're expecting at the hotel that they are more interested in? So speaking to them will help you know exactly where they want you to have perfect. So every other thing may be a little faulty, but so long as that thing that they're emphasizing on is good, they're okay, they're satisfied. Then the operational skills, of course, you need to be able to have the good skills to operate whatever technology you're using to serve your customers and everything. That is very important. Of course, you cannot be, this is a very skilled industry. So if you really don't know what you're doing, it will definitely show, it will tell. You know, and the customer would keenly feel it and then communicate that to other potential customers. So the last part will be the fundamentals in airfares and ticketing. This part of the course will make you better able to serve your travel customer by interpreting and advising airfares and their rules. This is the biggest job every travel agent has, interpreting airfares and their rules, then effectively communicating concise information. It has to be brief. Just give them the key points to them in layman terms so that they understand exactly what is allowed and what is not allowed on their flights. So a journey is defined as the origin to destination of an entire ticket. In the context of pricing and ticketing, a journey by air is for a point of origin. In the context of pricing and ticketing a journey by air, the point of origin is the city where the journey begins. Destination point is the end city in a journey, and intermediate point is any city in between. These are three major parts of every journey. These are three major parts of every journey: the origin, the destination, and intermediate cities. There's also another one that's known as the point of turnaround, which is usually what we know out there as the destination, especially when you're dealing with a return journey. So there are certain terms that we use too loosely, but they actually mean different things elsewhere. So when we're talking, the first thing to understand is anatomy of a journey. As a travel agent, you'll be seeing a whole lot of this every single day. A whole lot of this every single day. It is your job to interpret what you are looking at. This is a journey from Dublin to Frankfurt to Istanbul to Beijing back to Tokyo. Now, for most travel professionals, they spend their entire time not coming across an itinerary like this. But as a professional, the more you go deeper into the industry, you start coming into very complex itineraries that require a lot of calculation, a lot of planning, a lot of research so that you can find something that works out for the client, thereabouts. So you have all of this, you have a breakdown, you have your fare basis, you have your fare calculation box, you have the breakdown of all the fares, you have your total fare. All of these things are important. Of course, when you come in here, we'll teach you exactly. In this course, you'll be taught exactly how to interpret all of this. In fact, you'll even be taught how most of these calculations are done. So by the time you see a line like this or an itinerary like this, you know exactly what steps have been taken to calculate how much your client is expected to pay for that fare. It is quite easy. It's not difficult at all. So in the anatomy of the journey, usually they have IATA has this rule that whenever you are planning a trip, you do not arrange an itinerary. Don't plan an itinerary or arrange an itinerary in a way that it causes the customer to zigzag or backtrack. Do you understand? You don't do a zigzag or backtrack there, but so you have to arrange the itinerary except if the client has specified how he or she wants to travel. But if it is left to you, you have to make it into a circuitous route, non-stop, without backtracking or zigzagging. That is your job as a client. And of course, you cannot do that without knowledge of what a map looks like or what the world map looks like. So this journey is for a journey from Seoul to San Francisco to Los Angeles to Tokyo back to Seoul. You're starting, this is a return journey, yeah? The first one we dealt with was a one-way journey. This is a return journey. Now you're starting your journey at Seoul. You could as well have just gone to Tokyo first before going to San Francisco, then Los Angeles, before coming back to Seoul. But that would seem really, really absurd thereabout. So this particular travel agent decided to route this client in a way that everything is just round. You can see that there are no overlapping of the lines here. He went from Seoul to San Francisco, from San Francisco to Los Angeles, from Los Angeles to Tokyo, then from Tokyo back to Seoul. It is circuitous. There's no break, there are no overlapping or zigzagging. This is what is expected of you as a customer. So we'll do this practical session later on. We'll talk about certain terms and definition and their definitions. So as a travel professional, the proper use of course, you know that if you're being in any, if you find yourself in any industry, you are expected to know the registers of that industry, which are the terms that are used, terms that are unique to that industry. So we'll talk about the number of them, and then we'll go back to the practical session and see if somebody can route that journey for us without having to zigzag or overlap. All right, the first thing we'll talk about is the country of commencement. The country of commencement from which travel is the country from which travel or the first international sector takes place. So we'll see the definition of sector later. So in that first diagram thereabouts, the first journey started from Dublin before we went to Frankfurt. Then the country of commencement is Ireland, because that is where the journey started from. So suppose we have this journey. We have Singapore to Sydney to Vancouver. The first international sector in this journey is Sydney to Singapore to Sydney. Therefore, the country of commencement is in which country? Can anybody give me an answer to that? The country of commencement is in which country? Anybody?
Singapore.
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 Exactly. Singapore. The country of commencement is in Singapore. Thank you, Kachi. Thank you. Dennis had his hands raised. Thank you, Ifoma. That's very, very correct. So it is Singapore. Singapore is in Singapore. All right. The other time we'll talk about is country of payment. The country of payment is where the purchaser of a ticket, especially that is purchased. Now, usually when you look at the currency on a ticket, the final currency on the ticket, that currency is always in the local currency fare of the country of commencement, where you started that journey. Like the person is starting his journey from Nigeria, you as the travel agent, you are booking a trip from Nigeria, yes? Even though you see a dollar value, you end up seeing a naira equivalent. You pay for that ticket in naira. Nigeria is the country of payment. In the event that the next person wants to book the same flight, but his or her own travel agent is in the United Kingdom, he or she will not pay for that ticket in naira. He'll be paying for his own ticket in Great Britain pounds, because that's the country. Yes, that's the country of domicile of the agent who issued that ticket, he or she will be paying in pounds. So that's what country of payment is. It doesn't, the country of payment is not directly linked to the country of commencement. A person can start his journey from Frankfurt coming down to Nigeria, and his travel agent is in Nigeria. He will still end up paying for that ticket in Naira rather than the euros that he was supposed to pay for from Frankfurt. All right. The third term we'll talk about is departure, the day or time of the flight on which the passenger is booked or ticketed to travel. Your departure is the day you are slated to board the flight and travel. Direct flight, any flight with a single flight number, irrespective of whether there are en route stops or changes of aircraft. A direct flight may be a non-stop flight or a flight with stops en route where the passenger continues on the next stop on the same flight. In this diagram, 4 different flights are booked. You have a Lufthansa 979, Lufthansa 1304, China Airlines 5232, and China Airlines 421. Those are the different flights that are booked. This is not a direct flight. A direct flight has the same flight number. You're going from point to point. Normally, even if you're having a direct flight, sometimes they stop at other airports to pick up other passengers, yes? But you are still maintaining the same flight number. You do not disembark from that aircraft to join another aircraft. You're on the same aircraft taking you from point A to point B. So you have domestic journey. A domestic journey is a journey within the same country. You have a fare. A fare is the amount that is charged for transportation of a passenger, excluding taxis and taxis, fees, and charges. So in that diagram we had up here, this diagram up here, this here, 1839.00 is the fare. This is the fare. This is your total fare. This is fare, this is total fare. So the total fare is a summation of your fare and all of your taxes. The total fare is a summation of your fare and all of your taxes. So we don't talk about fare component. A portion of an itinerary between 2 consecutive fare construction points. If the journey has 1 fare component, the points of origin and destination are the only fare construction points. In the diagram below, there are 3 fare components. Now, I'll talk about fare components. Usually, a journey is priced based on it being a return trip or a one-way trip. For this one, it is priced as a one-way trip, but a combination of multiple one-ways, especially because your Dublin to Istanbul flight was handled by a different airline entirely. Your Istanbul to Beijing was handled by a different airline entirely. Your Beijing to Tokyo is handled by a different airline entirely. So you have 3 different one-way fares combined together to give you that entire journey. So you have 3 fare components on that particular fare. The fare components, let's examine a direct journey from Frankfurt to Istanbul to Seoul and Tokyo. So you have fare component. Your fare component is your origin to destination in this particular journey. Your fare component is your origin to destination. Then you now have your fare construction point. The terminal point of a fare component, also called the fare break point. When we say terminal point, we're talking about the beginning and the end. That's your origin to destination. That's to tell you that some of these terms are used interchangeably based on context. Based on context. We cannot go deeply into that, but by the time we go into the textbook, you'll find out some of these explanations. Based on context, we use some of these terms interchangeably. So you have fare type, also known as fare basis codes, and it represents the type of fare selected for the fare component. In that diagram up there, we had 3 fare components, each with its own fare and fare type. You have your Yankee Father 77WW. The fare basis code usually contain the rules of a particular ticket, the rules, the conditions, everything, rules and conditions of a ticket. That's where you find them there. So the fare type will tell you whether you're dealing with an economy class ticket, a business class ticket, or a first class ticket. Then it'll tell you whether you are dealing with a special fare or a normal fare. It tells you whether you're dealing with an excursion fare, an advanced purchase fare, or an instant purchase fare. These are all of the categories. All these terms are things that you come across constantly, but if you are not in the know, you do not know, you just overlook those information, and those informations are key to tell you why a particular fare is that way, why the rules of that fare are the way they are, and everything. So knowing these things will help you to easily communicate the rules of a ticket better to your clients. Then we have indirect routes, a continuous air route that other than a direct route. An indirect route is booked from Dublin to Istanbul. That's because you have an intermediate city between them with the change of flights in Frankfurt. If you have an intermediate city between 2 cities, you are dealing with an indirect route or indirect flight. So interline or online transfer, a passenger who transfers or connects from one airline to another at a stopover or connection point. An online transfer is a connection between two flights of the same airline company. So you are going from Lagos to Berlin, Lagos to Berlin in Germany. You're going from Lagos to Berlin in Germany, and you're flying Air France. You're flying Air France. So Air France will take you from Lagos to Charles de Gaulle, then from Charles de Gaulle to Berlin. Charles de Gaulle, the stop in Charles de Gaulle, which is the stop in Paris, is a transfer. That's a no stopover. Yeah. But because you are also going to be using an Air France aircraft from Lagos to Charles de Gaulle, then Air France again, that is an online transfer. Now, if it was a different airline entirely that was handling it, let's say we are using Air France from Lagos to Charles de Gaulle, then from Charles de Gaulle to Berlin, it was then Lufthansa that carried it. That is an interline. That's an interline. So that means two different airlines are operating the same journey, each one of them in charge of its own part of the journey. That's an interline. So you have your intermediate point, a via point or en route transfer points, which could be a stopover or connection. So when you look at that journey we had on there, Istanbul and Beijing are intermediate points. So you have your origin, your destination. The places or the cities in between are known as intermediate points or transfer points. Then you have your IATA rates of exchange. The rate of exchange published in NUC, that's National Unit of Construction, into local currency fares and vice versa. Of course, when you want to value a ticket operated by airlines from different countries, everybody cannot bill you in the currency of their own country. You pay taxes to Nigerian government, you pay tax to the UK government, and you're flying from Lagos. So which currency are they all going to take their taxes in? So all of these things are valued or they are measured with NUC, then converted into the currency of local currency fare before being converted into your currency of payment. So local currency fare, this is the currency in which international fares are published for the country of commencement. Now, let's take Nigeria, for example. Our national currency is Naira, yes? But all of our flight tickets are valued in US dollars because US dollars is our local currency fare. And then it is now that dollar value is then converted into Naira for us because Naira is the currency of payments. That's our national currency. That's the currency that is available in every part of the country. But all our international flight tickets are valued in US dollars. If anybody has ever seen a flight ticket, you find that we always have a dollar value, then an equivalent in Naira. Neutral unit of construction. These fares are published in local currency, traded in the country where currency begins, where the travel begins. You have the US dollars, euros, Canadian dollars, Kenyan shillings, Indian rupees. You have Great Britain pounds. You have Malaysian ringgit. You have the dirhams in Dubai and everything. So many currencies. And now you are moving from different country to different countries. And of course, when you are moving from country A to country B, you are paying in the local currency fare of country A. Country B to country C, you are paying the local currency of country B. That's too many currencies that you need to be dealing with. So in a bid to make it easier for you to sum all of those things and calculate your entire fare, they created what is known as the neutral unit of construction. It's not a currency, but it is a way for you to calculate airfares. So some currency, because it's necessary to combine fares published in different currencies in one ticket, it is not possible to collect a total fare for a journey unless all amounts are in the same currency. Therefore, fares are also published in NUC, a fictitious currency used in the airline industry to enable combination of different fares published in different currencies, which are then totaled and converted into the currency of the country of commencement of travel. So they totaled, converted into US dollars, then US dollars is now converted into Naira so that you can pay a singular amount, then BSP or whoever is in charge of paying that money then pays each one of them in their own currency based on the exchange rates that is on the system or the global distribution system that you used. We have what is known as a no stopover point, what people call layover out there. That's a transit point, also known as a connection. There is a no stopover taken when departure takes place less than or exactly 24 hours after arrival. It's usually indicated by an X followed by forward slash. That's on the linear fare breakdown. So Beijing in that journey we had up there is a no stopover. So you have the point of turnaround. In return journeys, where the journey ends at the origin, the point of turnaround is normally the farthest geographical region or destination from the origin and the point at which the travel direction changes. Now, when you have a journey from Lagos to London, London back to Lagos, London, which people call destination out there, is actually just the point of turnaround. Lagos is both the origin and the destination. The definition of an origin is where journey begins. The definition of destination is where the journey terminates. So Lagos being at the two ends of that return journey is the origin and also the destination. The city, which is London, in that journey that I just gave you, which is London, yeah, that is your point of turn around. A stopover, as the general rule, it states that a stopover exists when a passenger departs from an intermediate point more than 24 hours after arrival. The rule may indicate exceptions to the stopover rule. For example, a transfer is considered a stopover if the transit time at the airport is more than, depending on the country. Some countries can say if you spend more than 4 hours in our country, it is considered a stopover. I believe the UK transit visa only allows you to stay in the United Kingdom for 8 hours. Anything other than 8 hours, you need a visiting visa. Now, a through fare is also known as an indirect fare. It is a fare applicable for travel between two fare construction points via multiple intermediate points. So in that diagram that we had up there, we're dealing with a through fare. So let's just do this last thing before I hand over back to the account manager to close the class. So we have this journey from Reykjavik in Iceland to Paris to Ulaanbaatar down to Seoul. So, question. Sorry. All right. Study check. Which is the journey's origin? Which one of those cities is the journey's origin? So I'll go back to the journey now so that we can figure out which one of them is the origin. So which one of those cities is the origin? Anybody? A. We have a light on saying A. If I'm saying Reykjavik. All right. Any other answers? So, if I'm Broderick. Okay, saying Seoul. Any other answer? Okay, Reykjavik, Amoyele, Oluwatobi, Ojo Victoria, Reykjavik. If I'm saying Seoul.
Reykjavik.
So, all right, just so I don't waste too much time. Yes, the correct answer is actually Seoul. Now, if you look at, you can see an arrow on this here, which is to tell you that this is the destination. This is the actual direction of travel. So your correct answer is Seoul. Thank you all. The correct answer is Seoul. So which is the destination, journey's destination? Of course, you have Reykjavik as the destination. Correct. So if this journey is priced as a through fare, which would be the fare construction points? Remember, the fare construction points are supposed to be your origin to destination. So you have Ulaanbaatar and Paris, you have Seoul and Ulaanbaatar, you have Seoul and Reykjavik. Anybody?
Seoul and Reykjavik.
Yes, that's
Seoul and
Charlie.
Reykjavik.
Seoul and Reykjavik. Seoul and Reykjavik. All right. Question 4. How many transfers are there in this journey? How many transfers are there in the journey? Let me go back to that journey so we can count the transfers. How many transfers do we have in that journey? How many transfers?
Two.
Two
Correct.
transfers.
Two.
Two transfers. Thank you very much, Kachi. You have to I swear. All right. We have Paris and Seoul as, yes, correct, Victoria. Correct. That's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So the last question is, which is true for the journey London to Rome to Dubai to Hong Kong? A, they say it has one stopover and one transit point. B, it has two stopover points. C, it has one stopover and one transfer point. D, it has one stopover and one no stopover point. Anybody?
Two stopover points. Two stopover
Okay.
points.
Two stopover points. Okay.
Oh, two stopover
Any other
points.
two stopover points? Any other answer? B. Everybody's saying B. The actual answer
Hello?
is D. It's one stopover and one no stopover point. Remember, we showed you up there that the stopover point is X and / representing the no stopover. So you have one stopover and one no stopover point. All right, I'm seeing some questions on the comment box, like, please, why is the US dollar the local currency for flight with Nigeria as the country of commencement? Okay, that was decided by everybody, including Nigeria, that in fact most African countries decided to use a currency other than their national currency, probably due to the strength of their currency in the foreign scene. Yes, it's not because it's a universal currency. No, some countries, what's the name of this country? Is it Cape Town? No, Cape Verde. Cape Verde decided to use the euros as its own local currency pair. So for most African countries, we use the US dollars. It's only if you are very sure of the strength of your currency in the foreign scene that you can push to have it as your local currency pair. One other country that doesn't have a different currency is South Africa. South Africa, all tickets issued out of South Africa are issued in rands. They are all issued in rands. All right. With that, we've come to the end of this session. I'll be handing over the class to the account manager for Lagos Edition Academy. Of course, I'll still be here to answer any questions you have. I'll be here to answer any questions you have, so I don't take too much of your time. All right, over to you.
Thank you, everyone. For attending the masterclass. I hope you enjoyed. Anyone interested should reach out to us through our social media accounts, our websites, and our email. Thank you so much for attending, and do have a lovely evening.
If you have any questions, you can please ask your questions now. I'm ready to answer any questions. All right. If you are interested in taking the first step into aviation industry, the first thing is to take a course. After that, definitely you're going for internship. And in Lagos Aviation Academy, after taking the course with us, we give the opportunity for you to have internship with some of our partner companies. So many of them reach out to and ask for interns. You'll be at interns, usually a paid internship. You would get the opportunity to learn, and from there you can make the next step thereabouts. Of course, the industry is really wide, so it's from one level to another. As soon as you have enough information, enough experience, you can take it up to the next level. You can set out on your own. You can decide to just do whatever it is, but you need to learn first before you dive into the industry. That is not a problem. That is not a problem. Lighter. That's not a problem. Anybody else with any questions? You can just put down your number there. I'm very sure I'll definitely reach out to you. I'll put down your number. Any questions? Any other questions for both myself? For the account manager, of course. Yes, you can even you can put out your email, your recharge card. I'm definitely sending fast. The class has a duration of 7 days, and this is 8 weeks. So you are definitely welcome. And our physical address will be about 68 Emina Crescent, off to in the header. So it's very easy to locate it. As soon as you're on Emina Crescent, you can definitely find our building. You can walk in to make your inquiries. And I think I'll just type in our email address in the comment box, so you can reach out to us anytime. So you can reach out to us on that email address. Currently, we are not running courses remotely, but also we have weekend classes for those who are unable to make it during the week. We also have weekend classes available. So you can reach out to in your reach out. Please type your